Hi everyone and welcome back to the Love You Show. Now today's video is going to be different and very special because we are finally doing our very first recap of our lesson that we have done for our Love You channel. So it's been about 10 weeks now that we've launched this series on our YouTube channel, and we've been overwhelmed with such positive feedback about how this has impacted people's thinking. So today, me and Andrew are going to go through every lesson that we have gone through on our YouTube channel, and then we're going to take some questions that we feel that would be most important for you and useful, and we're going to actually talk about them and work them through. This is my co-host, Andrew.
Thanks, Ashley. So we'd like to review today and just go through everything that we've covered up to this point. The first one was about how we think and the process of our thinking. And I likened it to a computer program that is in our brain, and that computer program is filled with all of our life. And what makes us so different is that our lives are very different. So in my computer program and in Ashley's computer program and in your computer program are all of your experiences, your beliefs, your religion, where you come from, your assumptions, your opinions, your feelings, on and on and on. And as we get up every day and we go through our lives and we experience the world, we're all experiencing it in a different way because our software is different. And what we also covered that first week was, why is that important? Well, it's important because from that computer program, from that software, comes your actions. What you say, what you don't say, what you do, and what you don't do. And then the aha experience from that is we learned that what you say, what you don't say, what you do, and what you don't do either leads you to what you want or it doesn't. So from those beginning lessons, Ashley, you have a question.
I do. When you say most of our actions become automatic, I still don't understand what you mean by that.
Well, what I mean by that is this computer program that you have in your brain and in your life becomes automatic. Because we go through this computer program every day, what comes out of it is almost like
it's what's moving us.
It's what's moving us, yeah.
It's like we don't even think about it. We're just so used to doing it. Like we get up in the morning and we go to the bathroom and then we brush our teeth. And when we get up in the morning, we constantly have those ideas and those thoughts in our head that is just automatic. Like just talking about it, I remember waking up and thinking about all the stuff I have to do and how I don't want to do it. And just having that over and over
and then
again.
Your theories about it and your
Yes.
opinions about it, but
Yes.
keep in mind that you're not really thinking it through. It's just automatically happening. So the power in the course that we're doing is we're actually getting you to look at some of those things in that computer program that are automatic and to begin to think them through. So then what we did after that was we did what I feel is like the most important thing on our journey, and we created a list of 10 things we'd like to create in our lives. And those could be material objects, qualities about ourselves. They could be a new job. They can be a new relationship. They can be material goods. And Ashley has a question.
Okay. My next question is, why is it so hard for me to come up with a list of what I want and end result?
So I get this constantly. I can remember teaching this class to large groups of people. And for some people, they just went right at it. And do I have to stop at 10? And for some other people, it was really a struggle for them to think about what they want. And the reason why is because we don't ever do that. So this is a brand new skill for most of us. It's a brand new skill to begin to conceptualize the things that we want in our life. If you feel like you're not getting what you want in your life, one of the reasons is because we're not contemplating and spending enough time thinking about what we'd like to create. So just like learning anything, sometimes the beginning is difficult, but the more you practice, the easier it'll become.
Do you think it's because people don't value themselves enough to know that they deserve those things?
I don't really, as much as we haven't been taught to think this way.
Okay.
We've been taught to get up and react and respond to the world as it happens. So when you think about life, there's two ways to orient yourself in life. You can react and respond to life as it happens to you, or you can create it. Two different worlds. We're going to begin living in this world where we create what we want in our life. Step number 1, come up with a list of 10 things.
Yep.
We then, from that, we went into this whole explanation of the concept of fear. And we looked at how fear runs so many people's lives because of an experience that happened in their life that was painful. They're now afraid that it's going to happen again. And because they're afraid that it's going to happen again, it paralyzes people from taking the steps that they want. So one of the ways to think through that is to begin to realize that when we think about the future and you think it's going to pan out bad, you're making it up. That you're trying to make what's going to happen in the future that is unknown, you're trying to make it known, meaning that instead of creating it to be the way you want, you think it's going to pan out bad. So we really did spend a lot of time exploring fear and how that holds a lot of people back. Question.
How do you know if fear is real or imaginary?
Good. Get this question all the time. Fear that is real is in the present. About to be in a car accident, I feel fear. I'm walking down the street, gun at the head, I feel fear. Imaginary fear is always fear of the future. It's you thinking about the future and making up how it's going to pan out. That is imaginary fear. So it's where you live in your head. If it's present and it's fear, it's because it's real fear. If it's in the future, then it's imaginary.
But what if it's fear that has happened before?
For example?
I automatically think, because it's the anniversary of the shooting in Las Vegas and the people who went through that and what are they going through now in the future?
They're afraid to ever encounter that kind of event again or experience that event again because they're afraid that in the future, if they experience that event again, it's going to happen. So that's imaginary fear. I can remember, Ashley, one time I was at the gym and I was bench pressing without anybody being there, and the bar landed here, and I couldn't get it up. And so I started to panic. And, I eventually got it off, but the next time I went to work out, guess what went through my head?
Fear of it
the
happening
same fear
again.
of it happening again. It never happened again. I'd worked out all those years. It was an anomaly. But then that fear was in my head that it's going to happen again. Again, in the future, it's going to happen again. Not now. Got it?
Yeah, I totally get that. But do you think going through... How do I want to say this? Because I know this is a question that I have in my head. Because I know that I'm going through this process and I'm learning all of this. And I'm not saying that what I'm learning is not effective. It is, but there's that part of my mind where I have that old thinking, and that for some reason that old thinking has this feeling of comfort because that's what I have known for so long. And then there's that part of that switch that comes on, and it's like, okay, you gotta reframe what you're thinking, you gotta distract yourself, or you just gotta focus somewhere else, or kind of remember what I learned.
Yeah, but my screensaver
Is the secret.
How'd you know?
Because I saw it and I've never seen that on your screensaver.
So my screensaver says, to attract money, focus on wealth. It is impossible to bring more money into your life when you focus on the lack of it.
Very true.
So what is that saying is, if you're not thinking about creating money in your life, what are you thinking about?
You're wasting your time thinking about how you
what you
don't
don't
have.
have it.
Yeah.
So if you're not focused on, Ashley, what you want to create in your life, and that's what's motivating you and juicing you, then your mind is going to go to the negative.
Yeah.
What you don't have and what you're not doing and what you're lazy, etc. So the most fundamental part of this is that list. Of what you want. I mean, that list, if you remember going to Robert, it's that thinking about what you want, thinking about where you're at, and that tension that creates is the tension that gets your mind off of how things are going to pan out bad and into the creative process. Okay? I mean, I love that quote so much that it's become my screensaver.
No, it is true, because I could remember going back to thinking how life was before the pandemic and how both of us were so stressed out and thinking about where we were at and where this was possibly going to go, that we finally were like, we have to start thinking about this completely different.
Yep.
Okay, next question. What do you mean by the phrase, you can't control what you can't control, and you can't know what you can't know?
I think that if you said it a couple times to yourself, that you'd really get the power and the value of it. You can't control what you can't control means that sometimes it's out of your hands, especially when you think about the future. When people think that it's going to pan out bad, they actually think they have control over how things are going to pan out. You only have control over things that are going to pan out when you think about creating something. So you can't control what you can't control. You can't know what you can't know, meaning that there are things that we may have to learn. And we're going to explore that concept of learning and making mistakes, especially when we really dig deep into the concept of opinions. So that's basically what it means, is that you can't know what you can't know. You can't control what you can't control, especially in the relationship to the future. So then we spent time looking at the difference between a preference or a want and an expectation. And what we talked about was that when you set up life, other than wanting something or preferring something as an expectation, then you give jobs to people and to yourself that you didn't apply for. Because what you've done is you've turned it a want into a should. When you turn something in a should, he should be this way, I should be this way, the world should be this way, it changes the energy of what you want to create. You had a question about this?
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, I don't understand what you mean by giving people and ourselves jobs we didn't apply for. Can you explain?
Sure. What that means is that if I hire you, for example, because you told me that you love to do a job, and you come to me disappointed that I'm not giving you enough praise or acknowledgement at the job, you've now given me a job when I gave you a job, and I didn't apply for that job. Meaning, I don't want a job of having to constantly praise or give you acknowledgement. So we do this constantly. We constantly give ourselves, the world, other people, jobs they didn't apply for. Does that make sense?
In the beginning, it didn't, until I started thinking about past situations and how people put expectations on me, and then that's when I realized that I was given a job when sometimes it doesn't even look like that, but...
And they don't even know you gave it to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's what we mean by giving jobs to people. It's not literally a job, but it's like you wake up in the morning. I just got a brand new bathroom, and it was built for me because, quote unquote, he loves to take a bath. I didn't know that that bathroom was going to come with so many jobs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted it had I known it was going to come with so many jobs. Jobs for me to do, just because it's a new bathroom. And this happens all the time. It's constant. People giving other people jobs they didn't apply for.
Yeah, like I could remember one where my mom volunteered me to do something so that it would make her look good. And I had no clue that she was signing me up for a job that was going to
make her happy.
Yeah. And then I kept wondering why she was rushing me and constantly on my ass. And then it just made me feel like I don't want to commit myself to anything because I don't know what their intentions are.
The jobs are.
Are the jobs that come with this. And it was ridiculous that she gave herself a job.
By taking on that responsibility, and then she passed the job on to you. So good learning. There was one thing that we said there that I wanted to clarify.
How do we give ourselves jobs?
We constantly give ourselves jobs. We have to be a certain way. We have to act a certain way. We have to do things that we don't want to do because we think we should. We have to hang out with people we don't want to have to hang out with. We have to do family things that we don't want to do.
Do you think if we perceive or we think of ourselves a certain way, we're giving ourselves a job to make sure that we look that way?
Absolutely. So, think about your life and look at how many times you've given yourself a job you didn't apply for. Think how many times you do things because you think you should. And by the way, let's not forget that this is not done through bad intent. It's done through love, etc. It doesn't matter. You're about to take on something that you didn't apply for.
Oh my gosh, I can think of so many jobs.
Yeah, we do it constantly.
I quit them all the time. I'm not putting that on my resume now.
And then finally, we spent a lot of time on opinions.
Yes.
and a lot of weeks talking about opinions and how opinions, and if we can let go of opinions of ourselves, other people's opinions of us, our opinions of other people, then that is a quantum leap to accepting yourself and to love yourself the way you are.
So I hope you guys enjoyed our recap. I know I did. I got to remember a lot and relearn, and I hope that you guys will take this time out and go rewatch some of our videos that we have talked about today and see how you can really apply this to your life and your thinking. And for next week, Andrew, what do we have?
You know, I don't know yet. It's unknown. But we're going to create it. We're going to start to look at reality, our own reality, and start to describe reality. Because in order for you to get what you want, you really got to be clear about where you're at. Only when we're clear about where we're at will we know what steps we need to take to get there. So we're about to begin a new journey, and that's exploration of reality.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on today's recap. I've had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys like, subscribe, and comment below with any of your questions so that you can see it be answered on our next video. So I hope you guys have a great week and can't wait to see you again soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.